Pages like these are creating hundreds of thousands, even millions of views per month with automated content. And today you are going to learn how to create exactly this completely automatically for $0. If you've dreamed of having a digital assistant that creates viral content for you, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, completely free, stick around because you're going to learn how to do it along with me. Today we're going to build something extraordinary, a system that automatically downloads royalty-free videos, combines them with music, and adds motivational phrases, uploads them to YouTube automatically. And all you have to do is learn how to use this system on N8N. Welcome to the Minted Wheel community. Here you will learn all about artificial intelligence and automations. If you are interested in going directly to the option, the link to our community is below, and you will be able to access this and other workflows automatically. If you'd like to review how that system works, stick around. Let's get started. For that, we come to the official Docker site and download according to the operating system of our computer. After installing Docker and creating an account, we must search for N8N in the search engine, and we must install the most up-to-date version. We hit it on pull and wait for it to download. We must also create a folder on our desktop or in the place that we have designated with the name of our preference. Here, all our information and all our developments that we make in N8Ns are going to be deleted. Let's go to the settings in optional settings. We give our container a name. Here we write 56. In volumes, we must select the folder we have created previously. The media is on the desktop. It is called N8N. We select, and in container path, we select the following expression. We return to Docker and paste. Run. Once the installation is finished, you need to come to the container section. Open your N8N container, and this is the next link by which you will be able to use N8N locally. You only need to copy. It will open this tab where it will allow you to set up your account. Ready? This way we already have N8N installed locally. For the next step, we must install 2 libraries that will allow us to download the videos from YouTube. We must obtain our container ID. For that, we must return to Docker. We're going to need our container ID in Docker. This to install the following libraries. We must install this first, and we must replace this expression with our container ID that we obtained from Docker. To execute it, we must open our terminal and paste the expression that you have just seen plus our container ID that we obtained from Docker. We hit and execute. When we finish, we will need to install the following library, and the process is the same. We must replace the following dynamic tag with our container ID that we also obtained from Docker. Once it is finished, we install the next library. Press enter, and again we must wait for everything to finish installing. Done. It's just over. We can close our terminal and move on to N8N. We are in N8N, and we are going to analyze our workflow before going on to review its operation. This workflow is connected to a spreadsheet that is our database, and is the one that will be in charge of filling out and keeping all our work organized. It has 3 leaves. The first is where we have our videos. They are videos of this style, which are not copyrighted. This section here is at least not automated, so that you can select the clips you are going to use and do not have problems when uploading them to other platforms. The second sheet is the music section. It's the same process. And the third sheet is the title of the video plus the transcript that comes on the screen. It's the title of the video and the transcript you're going to see on screen. The data that you see here, both on sheet 3, 2, and 1, are data that the workflow itself is going to fill in as we work on it. With that said, we're going to start with the first one. We're going to fly our workflow. We're going to run it to see how it works, and we move on to the workflow explanation. All right, the workflow has just finished. We're going to go back to our spreadsheet, to the first sheet, which is the sheet that's responsible for reading the videos, and we see that it just changed the status to completed in this video. And we're going to move on to reviewing the workflow. This workflow starts with the schedule trigger. This is the workflow trigger. You can configure it according to you like it and how you want this workflow to be activated. We then move on to the next node, which is the logo that is going to be in charge of obtaining the links in our database. To configure it, we must do it in the following way. we must add our credentials. In operation, we must select Get Raw to select the row in which we want it to work. We select the document and select the worksheet. We must add a filter. The next filter is going to read the status column, and it is going to look for the ones that are empty, which in this case were these three. Since a workflow run has already completed, the status has been changed, previously empty, now complete. It is a limit node, and the importance of this node is as follows. This flow can be activated automatically and can work with as many links as you're adrift as it works locally. However, it is also programmed so that everything is uploaded automatically. In the event that you have many links in your database, the load limit prevents them from running all at once. As you can see, they ran all 3 links that we have in our database. The next step is to generate a name for these files, as we are going to download them to our computer. That's what we're going to use. Let's select in manual mapping. We're going to give it this name, and we need to add the following dynamic tag. The function of this node is to generate a random name for all our files, in addition to telling it to save in the footage folder. And as a parameter, we add Furist. The main purpose of this node is to avoid conflicts and maintain a better organization of the files you download. It's an execute command node. It basically tells you to download the video file and save it to the folder we selected with the name that the previous node invented. This dynamic tag comes from the Get YouTube Videos node and is the reference link to download N8N. If you would like to process more than one video at a time, you can change the next option, turn it on or off, to allow access to all items. For this example, we're going to leave it this way so that it runs just one. The next node is a Google Sheets node and will be in charge of updating our database. The procedure is the same. We must configure our credentials. In operation, we are going to select Update Role. We're going to select the document we're working with and the sheet we're working on. We select row number, and these dynamic tags come from the previous node. Get YouTube videos, just drag and drop in this place. That's why N8N is so simple to use. For our video, the dynamic tags come from the file name node. It is configured as follows. It is the name of the folder we selected, the name of the file that generated the previous node with the MP4 extension to identify it with our video. And we must change the status to completed. We save, and in this way we have part 1 of 3 of the configuration of this workflow ready. We must do the same procedure to download the music that we have downloaded for our videos. I recommend that you set this up in such a way that downloading the video is activated first, then downloading music, so that both streams don't overlap. We're going to check the settings. This is a schedule trigger, and it's going to be activated again as you configure it. The next node is also responsible for getting the link to the music we've selected for our clips. The configuration is as follows. We need to add our Google credentials. In operation, we must select Get Draw. We select the document, and we have to be careful here. Now we're going to work with the sheet that's responsible for getting the links to the music. And we're going to add a filter so that it only works with the status column, but only with the empty fields. This way, the system will only work with links that don't have the following tag. This is also to avoid a ban from the platform and maintain an organization between what we are running in the workflow that is responsible for downloading the videos and the workflow that is responsible for downloading the music. The next node is an edit file node, which is also responsible for generating a random name for these files that we are going to download. The expression is as follows. You can check it. I'm also going to leave you a file in the community where you can review all these tags directly so that you only have to copy and paste the workflow. The next node is going to be in charge of downloading the music that we had selected in our database. The expression is as follows. This node is responsible for downloading only the music, skipping the video altogether and giving it the MP3 extension. Finally, this node is responsible for updating our database. The configuration with the first node that was also in charge of updating the data is the same. With that, you will see part 2 of our workflow ready. Finished setting up section 1. And 2 of our workflow, we're going to move on to the section that's responsible for creating and uploading the videos to YouTube. Remember that you can set it to start right after the other 2 have finished. The next node in our workflow is a Google Sheets node. The function of this node is going to be to get the links of the videos that have already been processed. The configuration is as follows. We must select our credentials. In operation, we must select Get Raw. We select the document that we've been working on, and we select Sheet 1, which is where all of our video links are. We added a filter that works with the status column and checks the completion value. This is to obtain the following link. For the next node, we need to add an array node and the function of this node. It's getting all the links that the GetOut Videos node has pulled and generating an organized list. Remember that this workflow can create more than one video at a time, based on the videos that have already been downloaded. The next node that we're going to work with is a Google Sheets equal node, and the function of this node is the same as the first one. Only this node is going to get the links of the music that we're going to use in our video. Let's run it. The configuration of this node is the same. The only thing that changes is that we are going to be working with Leaf 2, which is the sheet that has the links that contain the music that we are going to use. We move on to an aggregate node, which is the one that will be in charge of obtaining all the links that we have been using and transforming them into an organized list to process them later individually. The next node is the node that is going to be in charge of obtaining the titles and the text that our video is going to contain. The configuration of this node is as follows. We're going to add our credentials. In operation, we use getRow. We select the document we are working with and the sheet we are going to use. We add a filter. We ask it to work with the status column, so that in this way it only works with the column that has the empty status. We're going to run and we're going to review it. We must add a limit. This is configured maximum to an item, but you can configure it in the same way as you have configured the previous nodes. In this case, we select 1 because it is with the number of items. In this case, we have 101 items, and the reason for that is because they are the 101 sentences that we have written in our UX document. We run for him to let only one pass. The next step is one of the most interesting. It is an edit fills node, and the function of this node is to create random combinations between the list of added videos and the list of added music. So that way we make sure we don't repeat content. If you have, for example, 5 videos and you have 8 songs on your list, it asks us to generate 40 combinations to make sure that the content you upload is always different. We execute and review. We must move on to a next edit fields node, and the function of this node is to generate a name for the final file that we are going to create. In mode, we select manual mapping, create name, and add the following dynamic tag. We run and voila, it just generates a name for the video that you're going to create next. Once the entire list of videos, music has been created, we must format it. For that, we are going to use the code node, and the function of this node is to format the text that is going to appear in our videos. One of the features of this code is that it can format text, color, font size, typography, etc. To make sure that the video you're creating uses the font you like, you should have saved the font in the folder you created at the beginning. Copy the file path and paste it between these quotation marks. This way, this node will know what typography to use in your video. We're going to run it and move on to the next side. Once we have the text format, the next step would be to create our video. For that, we're going to use a next node, which is an execute command, and we're going to use the following expression. This node is responsible for transforming your horizontal video into a vertical video without deforming it, adding a semi-transparent layer to make the text look good, using the previously generated text to paste it into your video, mix the music to normalize it, and is responsible for rendering the content for all platforms. He is not wrong, he never gets tired, and he does not ask for raises. Once it has finished running, the next step would be to add an HTTP request node that will be responsible for generating the link that we are going to use to upload to YouTube. It's set up as follows. We're going to select post as the method, and in the URL, we select the next one. We add our credentials, and we must make sure that the send headers option is active. In the name field, we add content type. In value, we add application JSON. We add a new parameter and add the next tag that will be in charge of configuring the content to the type we want to upload. Select raw and add the following expression to the bodysuit. These 2 dynamic tags come from the limit node, and the second would be the description. This is the text that will appear on the screen. We tell it to include the headers and status as an answer, and we execute. Okay, so it's just done. The next step would be to read the file that generated for us. To check it, we must configure this special node. It is a read and write node, and it will allow us to obtain the file we have created. In operation, we select the next one and add the dynamic tag that will indicate the name that generated our workflow for this specific file. Run. And here, for the first time, we can review the result that this workflow has for us. We open it. Remember that typography, font size, and color is fully customizable through the code node. You just have to configure it to your liking. Finally, we must upload the videos to YouTube. We add a new HTTP request node, select the next method, and select the same URL we used in the previous node. We just select, drag, and drop into this field. We add our credentials and activate the Send Headers option. We set it up this way, activate the Send Body option, and select N8N binary file. We write data. This way you will see that it has to upload the file that the previous node created for us, and we execute. This automatic content creation system can be used to increase the production of your content, not only on platforms like YouTube, but also on Instagram and different social networks. Below, I'm going to leave you the links if you want to learn how to publish automatically using N8N and creating your own content factory. We are about to finish. The next step would be to update our database, and for that, we are going to use a Google Sheet node. We select our credentials. In operation, we select Update Row. We select the document we are working with and the sheet we want to update, which in this case would be 3. We add these options, and we get this dynamic tag from the limit node. It's just drag and drop here. These fields can be left empty, and in the OppaPad field, we must writing period, / the dynamic tag that generates the noble name is just dragging, dropping, and adding the MP4 extension. We're going to update the status, and we're going to add the link so we can review it. Also, the time in which this content is going to be published. This should be the row you want to update. If we go back to N8N and run this step, finally, we must use the next node. Again, it is a next skip command. We are going to change the name, and the objective of this node is to clean our hard drive. As the videos are created, this node will be in charge of deleting them automatically. This way you make sure to keep your computer organized, clean, and only with the content you're interested in creating. And that's it. This way you have just created your own content creation factory automatically and for a cost of $0, all locally and using. I hope you have learned and that what you have seen today will help you to create and enhance the creation of your content totally free. You already know that if you want to have direct access to this workflow, you can do it directly. The link is down here in the description. In addition to having access to different workflows that will enhance not only your projects, but also your entrepreneurship. See you in the following video. Until next time.